Welcome along to another Green Jumper. I'm Marcus Alton, the editor of the tribute website brianclough.com, and this episode is part 2 of my conversation with Cloughie legend Nigel Jemson and his memories of working with the Miracle Manager.
He was a football genius, and what he did for football, never mind just for Nottingham Forest, was immense.
And in this second part of our chat, we talk about that winning goal in the League Cup final.
I get stick for the goal, saying, they call me Tapping Dave because I couldn't score on the first attempt and it was the second attempt. But, to be honest, I don't care how it went in the back of the net. And then being able to celebrate in front of all the Forest fans was something special.
And I also asked Nigel if the story's true that he was recommended by Cloughie's greengrocer.
I was playing for Preston North End away at Mansfield. And obviously Cloughie's greengrocer went to watch the game, and obviously I played quite well that game, and he went back to Cloughie and said, you need to sign this lad, he's doing really well.
He used to get 1 or 2 goals every season, give or take 30.
Plus you'll hear why he thinks Cloughie would have won the FA Cup in '91 with a different team selection.
It takes a big man to say that Brian Clough got it wrong, but in hindsight I think that if the 3 players, would have been involved and played from the start, I do think that we would have won the FA Cup. And if we would have won the FA Cup, I think that would have been the day that Cloughie might have even retired.
All that and much more coming up in this episode of The Green Jumper. Welcome back to the Welbeck Hall in Nottingham, where my guest is Cloughie legend Nigel Jemson. And I think, Nigel, it's fair to say this venue is quite a favourite haunt of yours.
Yes, it's my friend I've known virtually, for the early-ish years of when I came to Nottingham Forest, so 36 years ago now. We became good friends and stayed friends ever since, and he's taken over the catering side and the event side here. I mean, it's a fantastic building, one where I'm actually living as well now, and so we're doing Sunday dinners, and people see me on a Sunday serving and helping out, which is great. It's a great venue, and probably holds about 100 people, and very intimate, and I'm very, very happy here. And again, working for Nottingham Forest on match days, it's literally 5 minutes walk down the Trent, and it's the most wonderful walk ever.
Yeah, brings back those good times. And of course, you'll always be remembered for that brilliant winning goal to secure the Littlewoods Cup against Oldham at Wembley in 1990. Did you know well in advance that you were going to be playing that day?
I think so. I think that obviously I was in the team, and we just treated it really just as a normal league game. We did our usual thing. We trained in the morning. We went home, went to Antonio's for our pre-match meal, which was probably soup or prawn cocktail, and then it was a fillet steak with lots of chips, and then possibly a dessert if you wanted it, and then you got back on the coach, and there was crisps, there was chocolate, there's Coke, and everything else there you could eat. And you got to the normal, I think it was South Mims Hotel that we usually went to for London games, and so it was pretty much stay the same really. And then obviously got to Wembley. We did get there a little bit early to soak up the atmosphere and everything like that, and going down the old Wembley way and everything like that. It was brilliant, and seeing all the red shirts there, and I was 20 years of age then, to play in a major final at 20. On a selfish note, to score the only goal was a perfect scoreline for myself. One where, again, I was a confident striker. I put £50 on myself to score the first goal, 8-1. So that was nice. But most importantly, for the club to win back-to-back League Cups was an incredible achievement. Not only by the manager but by the football club. I'm still actually the last scorer of a winning goal in a major final for Nottingham Forest, which is great, but I'd love someone else to take over that mantle, because it means that we're winning trophies again, which for myself will be the ideal scenario.
another classic photo of you I found on the front page of the matchday programme for the following season's campaign against Queen's Park Rangers. There you are, kissing the trophy. Can you remember, how you felt at that point?
I can remember doing an interview straight after the game with Gary Newborn, saying, I had to pinch myself because it's just so surreal and it was like a dream come true. And again, people, I get a stick for the goal, saying they call me Tapping Dave because I couldn't score on the first attempt and it was the second attempt. But to be honest, I don't care how it went in the back of the net, and then being able to celebrate in front of all the Forest fans was something special. Seeing the whole family there, friends and everyone else, it was just a dream come true, and a day that, like I say, will live me till the day I'm dead.
Yeah. And you were in the matchday programme for that final. I've got a copy here, and amongst all the Nottingham Forest player profiles, there's a whole page with your picture on it. Do you think it was written in the stars?
That's probably to get my big head on it, wasn't it? A page like that. But no, I don't know. Again, like I said, a young lad that had come into the team, scoring goals. It's I think it's a perk of being a striker, I think. But I'm surprised you managed to get hold of a programme because I thought I took all of them. I thought my mum and dad had bought that many. Just a wonderful day for my family as well.
Yeah.
And it's like I say, luckily for me that it's in the history of Nottingham Forest, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. So that following season got off to a great start. You got several penalties and more goals, including, I think, one of your favourite goals against Everton in a 3-1 win. And the commentator says at the time, a stylish chip over Southall shows the quality of this young striker. What do you like about that goal in particular?
I scored a couple of goals like that. I scored one against Everton and I scored one against Southampton. I think I got a hat-trick that day. It was over Tim Flowers, and Tim Flowers has gone on to say that was the best goal he's ever conceded. So, I'd like to think that I was a decent finisher, and I could use both feet, left and right. And I think actually it was Stuart Pearce going down the line, I think, that created my opportunity against Everton. And listen, Cloughie said, the hardest thing in the world is to score a goal. It don't matter whether it's a yard out or whether it's 25 yards out, they all count. And it was a real special time for me at the start of the season. And
that new season, as it began, I've got a team photo here from the Southampton match. Actually, that might be the one where you scored that goal you were referring to. And there you are on the front row of the Forest players, next to Stuart Pearce, who's sitting alongside Brian Clough with the trophy at his feet. What comes to your mind when you see that picture? I think it's the whole team. I think it's full of amazing footballers. Obviously, in the background, you've got the Forest writing on the seats, which is spectacular. But collectively, as a team, you look at, you've got Steve Sutton in there, who's a great goalkeeper. My best friend in football, Mark Crossley, who obviously took his place. The back four of Brian Laws, Stuart Pearce, Steve Chettle, Des Walker. Roy Keane came into the equation. Steve Hodge, Franz Carr was there. Wow, it was a special team. It'd be interesting to see how this team would play against the team that's obviously playing at the moment. Yes. Yeah.
I think the only advantage that, it'd have to be on a muddy pitch, but I'm not sure whether the first team nowadays would want to play on a muddy pitch.
Do you think you'd get past Murillo these days?
Well, I might give him an extra yard, I don't know.
I think you might stand a good chance, although he is a pretty good defender, isn't he? Yeah. Staying in September 1990, there's a programme here. It's an away programme at Crystal Palace. And again, the pen pictures of the Forest team, it says for you, Nigel has started this season in fine form, being the First Division's top scorer so far with 5 goals, scoring, of course, the crucial goal in the Littlewoods Cup final. And then it says he is reputed to have been signed on the advice of Brian Clough's greengrocer. Do you know what the story is behind that?
He's right. I was playing for Preston North End away at Mansfield, and obviously Clough's greengrocer went to watch the game, and obviously I played quite well that game, and he went back to Clough. He said, you need to sign this lad. He's doing really well, and that's where it really came from. So I can remember having a picture with the greengrocer in the stand at the City Ground, and he brought me this massive, lots of fruit and veg and stuff like that, and it was quite bizarre, but I don't care. At the end of the day, if it wasn't for him, maybe I wouldn't be here.
Well, this is it. Yeah, you owe a lot to that greengrocer, I suppose. And then after a successful start to the season, there was a hat-trick in the FA Cup 5th round over Southampton. That must have been a great feeling, scoring a hat-trick.
Yeah, I think we were 1-0 down, I think, just before half-time, if I remember rightly, and we got a penalty. I think it was about 5 minutes before half-time, and everyone knows that Nigel should have taken it. And I don't know what came on of me, but I just grabbed the ball, and Piercy said to me, he used to call me Henry, he said, "Henry, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm taking the penalty." He went, "No, you're not. Give it to Nigel." I went, "No, I'm having it." He went, "You better score." So I took the penalty and obviously scored. And we went in at half-time 1-1. But I do believe probably if I'd have gone on and missed that penalty, I don't think I'd have come out for the second half.
No, you wouldn't have survived, would you? Why did he call you Henry?
It's a question that you'll have to ask him.
All right, OK. On that subject, did Cloughie give you a nickname at all that's broadcastable?
Yeah, obviously Big Head was the one that is banded around. But he used to call everyone. I mean, it's well documented. He used to call Mark Cross's shit house, imbecile. But yeah, it was a term of endearment, I think. It was nothing personal against it. But again, I was quite happy with that. When he put me in the same bracket as himself had been, the only one that's got the big head than me, then yeah, that'll do me.
You'll take that,
yeah.
Definitely. Well, after all that success and scoring in the FA Cup, it must have been disappointing not to play in the 91 FA Cup final. Did he explain or say why you weren't featuring in the lineup?
No, it all started sometime before that, even in fact before the semi-final. Obviously, because I used to live in Preston, well, Mum and Dad used to live in Preston, and you wanted to go home. If you went to see him on a Friday, because we used to have a meeting after training, if you say to him, Gaffer, is it okay, I'll go home after the game? He invariably say yes, and he'll give you the Monday off and you come back for training on Tuesday. So I went in to see him about that, and he said, yeah, no problem, of the day off. And then he just about to go out. He went, son, actually, we've got Derby in the reserves on the Tuesday night. Come back Tuesday morning, play 60 minutes of that game, and then you'll be right for the weekend. Perfect, gave me an extra night back at thinking, so I come back Tuesday morning. But unfortunately, on that game, I twisted my ankle. So there was a certain cut-off time until before the semi-final when everyone, not just myself, whoever was injured, had to at least, to be available, had to have a game under the belt. So it was a bit of a rush for me to get fit, to get this game under the belt before the semi-final, which I did. But unfortunately, then he put me substitute for the semi-final away at Villa Park against obviously West Ham. Tony Gale got sent off, and the rest is history. We won 4-0, I think it was. But I didn't get on. And in the back of your mind, he was always quite loyal to players, and so looking back, possibly I could see that coming, that I wasn't going to play in the final because it had probably played the team that got him there. But because I'd done the year before in the cup final, and I got back into the team. Ronnie Fenton, his assistant at the time, did tell me before that week, build up to the cup final, that I would be playing. So unusually, we didn't put the team up before we left to go down to London, and I think we went down Thursday night or Friday morning, and we stopped at Bisham Abbey and we trained, and no one got a clue what the team was. So we trained on Friday morning, and then we all got back onto the bus after training, and at the front of the bus where all the staff were, then there's a curtain that went across, and the players were in the back. So Cloughie obviously opened the curtains, saw Piercy, gave him a scruffy piece of paper, went out, shut the curtains again, and sat down. And then Piercy looked at it and said, "This is what the lineup's going to be for tomorrow." And he said there's going to be some disappointment. And he said to Brian Clough that obviously he was being left out for Gary Charles. Steve Hodges was being left out for Roy Keane. And unfortunately for me, I was odd man out because there was only 2 substitutes at that time. So I was absolutely devastated. And I can remember crying. And what do you say to people? To players came up to me. Obviously they were gutted for me. What do you say? And then, getting off the coach at the hotel, and obviously a lot of media was there, and Cloughie grabbed hold of me. He said, "Son, come and have a picture with me." And so I can remember having a picture with him. He's got this big broad smile on his face, and I was crying my eyes out, and that was it. And shared a room with Mark Crossley, and he felt sorry for me. And I just didn't know what to do with myself, so I went downstairs after getting a shower and change and stuff, and I bumped into Archie Gemmell and Graham, the physio, and they were playing snooker, and they said, "Oh, we're going to go out for a run. Do you fancy coming?" I went, "Are you kidding me?" I said, I didn't like it the best of time, but he said, "Come on, it'll do you good. It'll get you out of the hotel." Started moping around, and he said, "We're just going to go for 20 minutes." I said, "Okay then." So I went upstairs, said to Norsie, "I'm going for a run," and he nearly fell off the bed. He couldn't believe I was going for a run. And then so I went downstairs. And they got this circuit to go round. They said, we'll go 10 minutes round, and then we'll either carry on and go all the way round, or we'll turn back and do that. So we started running off. It got to 10 minutes, and I just expected us to turn back round. And Archie went, "Come on, might as well follow it all the way round." Well, in the end, they left me, and it took me an hour and a half to get back home. I was actually flagging a taxi down or a lift. I was that far away, so. In hindsight, if anything happened to the strikers that night, I wouldn't have been fit enough to play. I was knackered. But it was a tough day. You wake up in the morning knowing the fact that you're not involved, and I can remember speaking to Mum and Dad on the Friday night saying, "Look, I'm not playing. Don't come down." And they went, "No, we're there for you." Obviously. So when the coach pulled up, I managed to see Mum and Dad before the game, and obviously it was very emotional. But the worst thing about it was the Forest reporters who at the time didn't know what the team was, were coming up saying, "Come on, Gemma, same again as last year. You get the winner," and all that. And I'm having to say I'm not playing. And I listen, it takes a big man to say that Brian Clough got it wrong. But in hindsight, I think that if the 3 players would have been involved and played from the start. I do think that we would have won the FA Cup, and if we would have won the FA Cup, I think that would have been a day that Cloughie might have even retired, because he'd actually won everything that could have been won. So a very hurtful day, one for me that I'll never forget, and probably in hindsight that was the major reason for me leaving the football club. And without being disrespectful at all, you don't, sometimes you don't mind being left out, but in my opinion, I'd have been a better player to play that day than Lee Glover was.
Having scored the winner, the year before as well. But as you say, you went on to join Sheffield Wednesday with Trevor Francis. Did that go well? Did you enjoy that much?
Again, I can remember playing away at Manchester City. I just tweaked my hamstring. I think it was right at the end of October. And I came to treatment the next day. There's a reserve game, and I bumped into Trevor in the car park, and he said, "How is it?" I said, "Oh, it's not too bad." I said, "Oh, we wanted to come and buy you," and I said, "Well, it's up to you." I said, you sort that out with the club. They put an offer in, and Clough came up to me the next day and said, "Look, we've had an offer for Wednesday. It's up to you. You can either go or you can stay." But with the cup final still very much in my mind, even though I started the season off like a house on fire, and I think I got Barclays Young Eagle of the Month, I think. So Sheffield Wednesday is a very big club, again, well supported, and I just thought Trevor being a manager, playing up front with David Hirst, playing with some of the players that they got there, maybe it was time to go. And you look back at that, going over to Sheffield, I broke down in a car with my agent, Kevin Mason, on the M1. Once I got to Sheffield, we couldn't find the hotel. It was as someone was telling me, don't do it. And I don't think my mum was over happy that I did sign there in the end, but I did. Do I regret it? I'm not going to disrespect Sheffield Wednesday by saying I regretted it, because I think that my stay at Sheffield Wednesday could have been better than what it actually was. I did enjoy it. It was a fantastic club, great supporters. But I had a horrendous car crash probably 2 or 3 months after signing there. I said, should I have stayed here and see what happened? Could have done, but listen, it's life, and you get on with it. But I'm very proud to say that I played for Sheffield Wednesday and for Nottingham Forest, because they're two amazing clubs. It's I don't know. It's one of those things really where I do look back at times and think things should have been different, and what would have happened. I do believe I should have stopped at the top level longer than I did. But again, I opened my mouth too much. But that was me. But I'm very fortunate. I enjoyed my whole career. I scored at Wembley and I scored a winning goal in cup finals. It wasn't too bad. No,
not at all. And you mentioned that car crash. And is it right, Cloughie sent you some flowers when that happened?
Yeah, I spent the night in Bassett Law Hospital. I did get a bouquet of flowers from Nottingham Forest and from Brian Clough, which was more than what I got for Sheffield Wednesday. But that was Cloughie to a T. He was that sort of fella. He used to send my mum a bouquet of flowers every year with a Christmas card. So that was the class of a fella, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, definitely. Well, as we come to the end of this interview, I just wanted to show you this, which might bring a smile to your face.
It already is.
Now then, for our listeners, it's a programme from May 1988, and there's an 18-year-old Nigel Jemson picture standing by the side of the River Trent with his arms folded and a sweatshirt on, and there's a profile piece on the other page. It says star player profile, and I wondered if I could see whether you can still remember some of the answers that you gave when they asked you for this profile. Bearing in mind it's May 1988, so your favourite footballer at the time?
Gary Lineker.
No, same club, I think, but not Lineker.
No, I don't get it.
No, can't remember. Frank Worthington.
Oh, I actually played with Frank at Preston North End. No, I've never got that. I always said it was Gary Lineker, because obviously I looked up to him with his goal scoring record.
Yes.
But Frank was an absolute legend. Honestly, again, he's sad to say he's not with us either. I can remember him coming in when he signed, and it was peeing down with rain. He got this Trilby hat on, this long Mac, and underneath it got like a vest and a pair of shorts. But he used to go out every day, before training with a bag of balls. He was training on the artificial pitch, halfway line, and he used to just knock balls into the goal without bouncing, and it was incredible. But what a player he was.
Yeah. And your favourite other sportsman at the time?
God, you tested me now. This is 36 years ago now.
Yeah, it's a long. But
I can't remember what I had for my tea last night, and you're asking me about this. Other sportsmen.
It's to do with golf.
Tiger Woods.
Probably
that was too soon.
Yeah.
Nick Faldo, was it?
That sort of era. Ian Woosnam.
Ian Woosnam, was it?
Yeah.
Welshman. Did I really say that?
Yeah.
Wow. I think I might have to retract that one.
This might be a bit easier. Favourite food?
That's got to be steak and chips.
Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
I might have changed that now. So I love my lamb. So lamb and mashed potato, that's That goes well.
And your favourite drink at the time?
Now you are testing me now, because I didn't think I really drank that much at 18.
Well, it's non-alcoholic, if that's a clue.
Right, okay, well... Coke.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're a big
big
Coke fan, yeah. Here's an interesting one, superstitions. It asked you about superstitions.
I was terrible as a footballer. I had quite a few. Anything to be 13 was a no-go. I couldn't walk under any ladders. Just the usual things, really. I couldn't cut my toenails on a Friday. What else did I used to do? I used to have to put my right boot on before my left, right shin pad on before my left shin pad. As a warm-up, I used to, wear a T-shirt and then put my match shirt on as I was walking out. I probably had to be third in line when I was coming out.
Yeah, that's your answer in this feature.
It's amazing how football is, superstitions, and it's something I still have, to be honest, and in certain things. That's not bad. At least I remember some of them.
Yeah, you did well. You did well there. It was good to say how long ago it is. Another big day, of course, was when the Cloughie statue was unveiled in Nottingham, and you kindly took part in a football forum as we were raising the money for the statue. And you were there on the day of the unveiling, and I'm just showing you a picture now with some of the former players that turned out for the unveiling in 2008. What can you remember of that day? It was a really special one, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the unveiling of the statue, which is fantastic and still is, and a very proud moment for me as a player. Looking at the players there, I was probably the youngest one there. You've got obviously some of the golden oldies like Liam and Kenny Burns, John McGovern, Tony Woodcock, Viv Anderson. You've got Franz Carr there, Gary Mills, I think. Steve Sutton lurking in the background there, I think. So, some good footballers there, and privileged to be, in the same breath and same picture as those lot.
And looking back, Nigel, how will you remember Cloughie?
As the best. I'm very proud, very privileged, very honoured to have played under him, good and bad, and I'll always remember some of the times. I can remember going to when he retired, and I used to go to events, and he was a guest speaker, and I usually sit on tables, and there's obviously pieces of paper there for people to write questions down and say any questions for the gaffer. So every time I went there, I used to put on a piece of paper, why did you leave Nigel Jemson out of the cup final? Obviously not written by me, by other people. And his answer was always, because I could. He never gave me a straight answer. But the memories that will live with the rest of the life. He was a football genius, and like I say, what he did for football, never mind just for Nottingham Forest, was immense. And I'm probably one of those where it'd have been interesting if he had become England manager to see what would have happened then, but that wasn't to be. But I can't speak highly enough of him. And the day, when he spoke to me on the telephone and asked me to sign for him was special. But to come down the next day to meet him, and to be fair, I don't know if you were aware of it before. When I was at Sheffield Wednesday, I nearly came back, and I can remember sitting in the room, and he walked in. And he went, "Son," he said, "I don't particularly want you back, but I've been talked into it." And that was just before I nearly signed again. So it didn't happen. A great man, and so was his Barbara as well. Lovely, lovely lady, great family, and he's a special, special person.
Nigel Jemson, thanks ever so much for sharing your memories today. It's been absolutely fascinating looking back over the years. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thanks ever so much.
And of course, thanks again to you for listening.
And a special mention to Stuart Croucher, who got in touch to say how much he enjoyed my book, Brian Clough, The Lost Tapes. He says it's a tremendous read, and he also enjoys the podcast, which he describes as excellent. Well, thanks for those comments, Stuart. It's nice to know that you enjoy listening. And of course, there are more details about the book on the tribute website brianclough.com, where you can buy signed copies and other souvenirs to help support the podcast and other good causes. I hope you can join me next time for more memories of the great man in the green jumper.